The best show for Chicago sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Chi-Town. We back. What's good? I got my soundboard back, y'all. I'm back. Yeah. What is good, Chicago? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. On the show today, we got a lot to get into, man. Asking the question, was the Chicago Bears going into the rebuild the right decision? Looking back on it, right? Had this topic brought up yesterday, had some interesting conversation about it, thought it was great for the show. Also, gotta look into what's going on with the Chicago Bulls team. And also on top of that, we're going to be breaking down and previewing the game tonight. We're also going to be previewing the game versus Atlanta. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. It is a Friday, November 18th, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm out here like Coach Prime. Bring me my theme music, man. Bring me my theme music. Stop playing with me. Let it vibe. Let it vibe. Let it vibe. Let that fade out a little bit for you. Let that fade out a little bit for you. What is going on, Chicago? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Live. If you're just now getting in here, I need you to do me a favor. Go ahead and
push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Let's get this mug cracking because a very interesting topic, right? Of course, we're going to break down the Atlanta game. We're going to break down what the Bears have coming up, but also I want to talk to you guys about was making the decision around the Chicago Bears rebuilding the right move, because this was an interesting topic. I don't know if it sparked in the Discord or this was just a text chat, right? But when you start to look at what the success that Justin Fields has, right? It's very easy to then say, well, of course this is the right move. Of course this is the course of action the Chicago Bears should have taken. Of course you have to go into this rebuild, right? Because look what's come from it. We've seen Justin Fields develop. We've seen Justin Fields get better. We've seen him start to make plays that he was not making last season. Of course, this was the right course of action. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not speaking on simply, right? Like, I think when I'm thinking rebuild, I'm thinking from the point where Ryan Poles gets Matt Eberflus in the room, where Ryan Poles gets, where Flus goes out and gets Getsy in the room, right? Where that's already there. And then you're starting from that point on, right? And here's the reason for the question. And when it was framed like this, I thought that it was an interesting take on it. What was told to me was that you've seen Justin Fields develop without anything being added to the offensive side. Do you go into this year with a little bit less money? For sure. Do you go into this year with a little bit less draft capital? For sure. But you still would have had your regular draft picks. You still would have had some money, right? The point was kind of like, maybe don't bring back Roquan. That might be the one piece that you end up moving. Maybe. But if you hold on to Khalil Mack, maybe you hold on to Akeem Hicks, maybe not. You have Robert Quinn. You're still able to go out and get one of the two of either Jaquan Brisker or Kyler Gordon. You still have Jalen Johnson. You still have Eddie Jackson. You don't rebuild anything. I was like, all right, what's the point? He said, what changed on the offensive side of the football that you couldn't have gotten this year? You had everything. The only thing that changes is you would have had to give up your second round, or the Ravens' possible second round pick for Chase Claypool. But nothing else changes. because Justin Fields is winning without any of those pieces that you got rid of in play, or not winning, but he's playing well. He's developing in the right direction, and he still would have been able to do that if you had Khalil Mack. He still would have been able to do that if you had Quinn, if you had Hicks, if you had all these other pieces. Now, you would have only had one of either Kyler Gordon or Jaquan Brisker, but either of them might have been playing better in the situation that they're in. And when he broke it down to me like that, I couldn't say that he was wrong. Especially when, you're holding on to those pieces. Yes, Khalil Mack is one of the highest paid players in the NFL. Yes, you have to make a decision on Robert Quinn, but maybe you can find another linebacker in there, right? We still could have gotten Jack Sanborn. We still would have been able to sign Nicholas Morrow, I believe. I don't think that Mack's money played into that this year, right? So you still would have been able to make these same decisions. You just wouldn't have had as much money going into next offseason. But you probably would have been able to win more games this season. And when you look at it, the question mark then is, does holding on to those players, does adding back in a Khalil Mack, holding on to a Robert Quinn, does that help him play better, right? He was having a little bit of a down year. He hasn't played a snap over on Philly, by the way. I mean, he's played like 19 snaps over there. Like, they have not utilized him, so that's a steal of a pick. But you could have held on to everything, and Justin Fields still could have developed because Luke Getsy would have been the OC. And I couldn't say that he was wrong on that. The only thing that I push back on, I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the chat. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. We got Baki in the chat, R Hunt Life in the chat, Chris Ferguson in the chat, Renewable in the chat said live or Memorex. Renewable. Ain't nobody watching Memorex, bro. Nobody's doing Memorex no more. You went back too far. Come back, Renewable. Come back. Here's the one thing that I'll say. And it's the one feather in the cap. And not to say either side is wrong, right? Not to say either side is wrong, because here's the thing. Yeah, the Bears would have been winning more games at 7-3. The Bears would have, I don't know about 7-3, right? That's what he said to me. He said 7-3. He said the Bears would have been winning more games. The Bears would have been 7-3. When you look at some of the games that were close, right, you're able to close them out with your defense playing a little bit better. You would have been able to develop those defensive pieces. You could have focused on the offense a little bit going into next year. You would have been closer in a situation. And the only thing that I give pushback on is that team's expectation is much higher. Right now, Justin Fields can operate in a mistake-free or in a mistake-riddled space, free of having the expectation of being great, right? You still could have developed your offense and all of that, but the expectation's higher on that team if you're going 7-3, if you're going 6-4, whatever it is, right? If you're winning more, because now you see in the development of the offensive side of the football while having a defensive side of the football, right? I think that Fields isn't able to operate as freely as he is in a season where in a rebuild, you're looking at this and saying, I don't know why I said it like that. In a rebuild, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, yeah, he's going out there. He's made his mistakes. He cost us a couple of games with his mistakes, but this season doesn't matter. You're worried about building for the future. And on the other side of that, right, I think you have to get rid of these guys anyway. The one thing that I'll say that I will never give pushback on is that, or that I'll always give pushback on, is that I'm willing to trade defense for offense because I know we can rebuild the defense. It's 36 inches of bare head hanging back there on that wall. There's one offensive player out of all of them that is a part of that. It's just sweetness. Has there ever been? Maybe Matt Forte. On the offensive side of the ball, you're talking about a couple of pieces in that history. I know the Bears can rebuild a defense. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the part where I get what they're saying, and apparently, like, there's people that really feel this way. It's the first time I've ever heard this broken down to me like this, basically saying you could have won more games this season if you hold on to these pieces and nothing changes on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, you don't have nearly as much money going into the next offseason. You don't. But winning does bring a different sort of mindset into the building. And if Justin Fields starts to play the way that he's playing right now, and you're winning, that could spark the mindset of, okay, this team's got a little bit more, this team could do. But the problem is, right, it's an aging defense. It was an aging defense as well. Right? Mac was in and out. Mac is playing really well over there, but Mac was carrying the load of the defense over here. Mac was in and out of the lineup a lot, right? Like, again, revisionist history. It makes it look good. It makes it sound good. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that it is, like Coach T is saying here, the $130 million in cap. Because to me, the biggest issue with Justin Fields this season isn't Justin Fields right now. The biggest issue with Justin Fields is something that with $130 million in cap space, you can fix next season. And that's the most important thing. Again, I was bringing that up, right? Trading defense for offense. You have to go out and get 4 more fat guys to stand in front of him that are going to be talented, and I don't want them to be rookies. I really don't. Like, I keep saying this, and I think people are like, of course you want to go out and get these guys in there. I don't want to see them draft one offensive lineman unless it's like he's so unequivocally, the day you plug him in, he's going to be able to play, and you're going to look at him and be like, wow, this guy's going to be an all-pro. Right? Like, Jaquan Brisker, looking at his tape, and then seeing what he was able to output on the field immediately, it matched up. I was excited. Right? I was excited about seeing Jaquan Brisker's tape and then seeing him be able to do that on the field, because I was like, it looks the same as it did in college, and he looked way better in college than most of the people. So for me, I'm unless it's a player of that ilk, I don't want to see the Bears draft an offensive lineman. Go pay 4 or 5 fat dudes, however many you need, put $90 million in your offensive line, and get the job done protecting this kid. Because I don't want to see Justin Fields running for his life the rest of the way through. I don't want to see Justin Fields running for his life or getting designed run 5, 6, 7. I mean, what was the last game? He's had more design runs in last week than he did in most of the games going into that, right? Like, so I'm cool on that. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to have a rookie trying to figure out how to transition into the NFL standing in front of my franchise piece. So the one pushback that I'll give on was the rebuild the right decision, I'm still in the favor of yes, right? I'm still going to be in favor of yes. But I think both had paths that could have worked. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it was broken down to me, I couldn't say that doesn't work. That wasn't feasible. That wasn't a move that the Bears could have made. Like, when he broke it down, I was like, that could have worked. And guess what? You still could have traded Roquan, because maybe more than likely, right, you still don't come to an agreement on the contract, no matter if Mac's there or not. You still could have traded Roquan. You trade away Roquan, and you still get that second-round pick. You still can then use your second-round pick to trade for Chase Claypool. But then again, right, in that situation, maybe not, maybe, and here's the other caveat that you have to go down with that, right? The Packers were offering a second-round pick. The Packers are playing terribly, so that's a high second-round pick. They selected the Bears because Pittsburgh believed that the Bears would be worse, so you probably aren't able to get Chase Claypool then. Although he hasn't been used much here, right? But both sides, it was one of those things where when somebody said it, at first you're like, dude, what are you talking about? This makes no sense. And then, like, as he broke it down, I was like, It's not bad. Playing devil's advocate, not bad, not a bad take. I can see both sides having good, having bad on it. I like the path that we've gone down because I think the path that we've gone down leads us to a younger team, a team that's going to be a little bit more sustainable, a team that's going to be around for a little bit longer, a team that can grow around Justin Fields. And generally, right, those are the teams that you see have success long term. The Colts have the Colts, good Lord, Pat. The Chiefs have grown together, right? Like Kelsey, Mahomes, Reed, right? All three of those guys have grown together. Reed been around, but you know what I mean? Like they grew up under that coaching staff. And then you add people into that, you add pieces into that. And of course, right, different pieces are going to be able to come in, different pieces come in at different times and stuff like that. But that's the important part, having that guy have people around him that are able to grow with him, that he always can rely on, that he can look to, right? I like that for Justin Fields. And so I still like the path that we've taken a little bit more, probably more so because we can see it working. But it's not a bad take to say that if the Chicago Bears had held on to all of those pieces, yeah, you go into next offseason with less money. But then you're in the situation of drafting your QB and stuff like, or drafting your offensive line. But I can't say it would have been a bad decision. Now, at the end of the day, do I like the decision that Ryan Poles has made? Do I think that this is the decision that's going to lead to long-term success in the organization? I do, because I think there was a lot of guys from the previous organization that you ended up having to move out of there that weren't about the new regime coming in, that weren't about what's going to happen, who's going to have what job, who's going to be the leader on this team, right? I think now when you're looking at both sides of the football, on the offensive side, you know Justin Fields is the leader, and I think you know Justin Fields is the leader of this team. But on the defensive side, right, like that job's up for grabs. Is it Eddie Jackson? I don't think so. Not right now. Maybe right now, but I don't think that he's your long-term leader. He can be one of the leaders there, but he's not the guy that's going to call the shots. Are you going to see something from Jack Sanborn? Are you going to see something from Jalen Johnson stepping up in that role, right? Is Jaquan Brisker going to say like that? That's the question. Justin Jones, that's the question that you have to ask. And it's what I've talked about with this team on the defensive side of the ball, right? Like, to me, on the defensive side of the ball, you have to figure out what your core is going to be moving forward. And I like that we're here, right? Like, you can't make that decision right now. And that's a hard decision to even make moving forward if you still have Khalil Mack, if you still have Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith, right? Like, yeah, that defense looks way better. But at the end of the day, you're going to have some turnover on that defensive side of the ball. And you have to have turnover on the offensive side of the ball as well. You might as well do it all at once. Go through the growing pains now, and then you can build out a team that's going to be sustainable and successful for some time to come. That's what, hey, listen, I thought that was a great, and I let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. If you're watching this after, let me know how you guys feel on the podcast side. Tweet it to me. And of course, if you're in the live right now, man, let me know how you guys are feeling on that. Because I thought that was it's not a bad take. It's not a bad take. What a great take on that one, man. But hey, appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us, man. If you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us. I need y'all to
push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
hit that like button, man. Here we go. So let's shift gears here a little bit, right? Let's get into what we got coming Sunday, because we've got a team that in the Atlanta Falcons that has a terrible defense. That the Bears, in my opinion, should be able to beat. But coming off of this Detroit loss, you have to figure out, okay, what are we missing defensively outside of just talent, right? There's got to be something, and I'm really I've talked about this a couple of times this week. I'm really focused on Allen Williams figuring out where he can get the best out of these guys. The people that I'm focusing in on in this Atlanta game for the Chicago Bears, Jack Sanborn. I've seen 2 weeks of Jack Sanborn having good instincts, being in the right position, being able to make plays, making plays the right way, right? Because the first 3, Roquan was able to do. But he wasn't always making and finishing that play the right way. I'm not saying, and here's the tough take, I'm not saying that Roquan Smith or Jack Sanborn is better than Roquan Smith. But what I am saying is that in 2 weeks, we've seen Jack Sanborn be more consistent, more effective than Roquan was in 7. I think he got traded in week 7. Now Roquan probably goes out, right? Like contract situation, a lot on his mind, all of that stuff, right? Roquan probably goes over to Baltimore and just balls out and dominates and all of that stuff because now he's in a situation where he feels happy and he feels like they're going to pay him, which I don't know if that's going to happen. But, like he probably goes over there, balls out, becomes the Roquan Smith we all knew he could be, and we're going to be looking like, man, that'd be nice on his team. But at the end of the day, Jack Sanborn's played really well. I'm going to be focused in on Jack Sanborn in this game. Outside of that, I need to see Jalen Johnson. Now, I know he came up a little bit gimpy. He was a full practice. He was limited early in the week on the injury report. He was a full go yesterday. I want to see what he's going to be able to do out there. There is a load that the Bears have to deal with in Cordero Patterson, who, man, I miss Cordero Patterson. But tonight on the defensive side, we should see a game where the Bears are able to force Atlanta into making consistent mistakes. And I want to see Jalen Johnson capitalize off of those mistakes. I want to see Jalen Johnson finally get, what's he got? He's got 1 interception in his career. How many? I think he's only got 1 interception in his whole career. What's going on with that? We got to get that up. Right? I need to know, and I think, right, this is an evaluation going into the rest of this season on the defensive side of the ball. While I do understand, right, the pressure up front isn't up to snuff, right, and Jalen Johnson really hasn't been here when we've gotten great pressure on quarterbacks at all, pretty much. So that definitely affects them. I think that we do need a better front line to allow your DBs to make those plays but I need to see, show me something, baby. Show me something. There's been games where there's been plenty of mistakes being made. There's been games where there's been plenty of ducks thrown up in the air, and Jalen hasn't come away with them. So I want to see Jalen Johnson have that game where I'm looking at him and being like, boom, let's go. You know what I mean? Like you need that pressure to have dominant DB play, but I need to see more. You know what I mean? I need to see. Just show me, like, first off, you got cooked on Sunday, so I need to see you bounce back from that at least. At a minimum, don't bounce back from that. Offensively, right, I think the Bears are going to put up points. This is going to be, what I don't want this to be is a high-scoring affair. As bad as I think the Bears' defense is, and as good as the run game for Atlanta can be with Cordero Patterson back there, this should not be a game where they're able to keep up with you offensively. It shouldn't. This should not be a game where they're able to gash you to the point where your defense is dead tired by the end of the game. It shouldn't be. Now, whether it will be or not, right, like that's going to be on the players. It's going to be, I also want to see a little bit more from, we've talked about on the defensive side, Dominique Robinson coming in and making some interesting plays and making some really good plays, but I feel like they've been very flash in the pan. I know this is not a position that he played his whole career. I know this is kind of what's he played this the last couple of years, right? He's more of an athlete than anything, but I want to see a little bit more from him. I think this is a time with a struggling offensive line over on Atlanta's side, right? I think this is a time where you can see Dominique Robinson causing some havoc back there against Marcus Mariota, and I want to see that, man. Show me a little bit more of that. I think the Bears do come out of this with a dub. I think I probably predicted the Bears to get a dub on whatchamacallit, right? I think I predicted the Bears to get a dub probably the last. Not really, just against Detroit, as Don Burr shows up right at that moment. But I see this as a game that the Bears should go in and win. And listen, the Poles versus Pace game, we got to get a dub on that one. Pace can't beat us on that. The Poles versus Pace debate, Pace can't beat us on that, bro. We need Poles to get a dub here. Also, hey, listen, and here's the thing. And maybe this is the game to me, if any, where we see Justin Fields be able to drop back and actually be a passing quarterback. I think we're going to see a little bit more out of, I almost say Cordero Patterson. Man, I miss him. I think we'll see a little bit more out of Chase Claypool. Lou Getsy was talking yesterday, talking about kind of how he felt like Claypool was starting to get the playbook and had a grasp of it. Now he can just go out there and play. So hopefully we'll see him in more plays out there. I think this is a game where, because Claypool is out there, at a minimum, you'll see Darnell Mooney be able to just not be, covered the entire length of the field. And I think Cole Kmet continues to move in the right direction. I think that this defense just isn't good enough to force Justin Fields into enough mistakes for him to struggle on this one. I think the Bears put up 30-plus points yet again. And I also believe that Justin Fields will finally have his 250-plus yard passing day. And he will have 80 yards on the ground running the football. Of course, right, they're going to get in the backfield. The Bears pass pro just isn't good enough. They're still professionals on the other side. I just think it'll be a lot of Justin Fields doing a lot of movement, trying to step up, different things like that. You know what I mean? So for me, right, I got the Bears getting a dub in this. I think Justin Fields plays really well. I think Darnell Mooney and Claypool are going to look like a really good tandem out there on the field. This is going to be the opportunity. And first off, did y'all see the picture that Justin Fields threw up on Instagram? Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull that up here. Did y'all see the picture that Justin Fields threw up on Instagram? Where he's like looking like a Batman villain, basically. Like, what was going on with that? You know what I mean? What was going on with that? Justin Fields Instagram. And this is why you need to be watching your Diego on YouTube when I go live, man, because you're not gonna get to see all these pictures on the podcast. Yeah, here we go. Hold on, let me see. Bow. Zoom in on that. Let me go to. Let's do. Make sure that's off. Go video here. Boom. Look at Justin in here. Look at Justin in this mug, man. Look at Justin in this mug. Said the one thing they love more than a hero is to see him fail. Keep going. By the way, Okuda in the comments talking about facts, my boy. Bojack in the comments talking about Mos Def. Yeah, I mean. This man balling out here. Like, listen, he got the right mindset. I love Justin Fields, man. I love Justin Fields' mindset. I think that this is going to be the week where offensively he's going to get himself going. I think that this is the week that offensively he's going to be able to make more plays with his arms than with his legs. And I think there's something right, even just from the mental aspect, that has to happen. I think even from the mental aspect of it, from a discipline aspect of it, that has to happen. And wasn't that, who was that? Wasn't that Green Goblin said that, wasn't it? Was he watching Spider-Man 1 last night? Didn't the Green Goblin say that in Spider-Man 1? You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad take, though. It's not a bad take. Quentin Adams said, the Lord just him Fields right there. The Lord just him Fields shall be taking the field with his scepter and his blade. That's how Justin was looking. Where did he get the cloak? Did they just give you a cloak on the NFL sidelines now? Did I miss that? Did I miss that? Oh, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page if you have not done so. Stefan, what'd you say, Steph? You said the first Spider-Man was absolutely the worst one out of the three? Are you nuts, dog? Spider-Man 3 was awful. Spider-Man 3 was awful. Spider-Man 3 was god awful, bro. Get out of here, dog. What are you talking about? Hey, man, I love a football Friday, man. I love being able to just come in here, chop it up with y'all, man. Enjoy talking about our Bears. You know, Don Bird's in the chat, man. Don, you still ain't sent me your info, bro. But no, man, I just really enjoy the back and forth that we're gonna get. I'm gonna miss this, man. I gotta go back to work, so I'm not gonna be live for these. These will be pre-recorded. So I mean, the next few weeks, right? Of course, if I get a day off, I'll be live. But I'm going to be I'm gonna be back at work Monday through Friday. Probably 7 to 2:30 or 6 to 2:30, 7 to 3:30, back on that blue collar life, man. So I'm going to miss being live with you guys, but we will still have a show every single day. So make sure that you guys are tuned in with us on that, man. We're going to still be putting out fire content every single day. I appreciate y'all for showing love, man. Let's keep it pushing, man. Let's keep it going here. As we're getting into tonight, the Chicago Bulls are taking on the Orlando Magic. And here's the problem with tonight's game. I can't tell you that the Chicago Bulls are going to come out here and be the better team. I can't tell you that the Chicago Bulls are going to come out here and they're going to play a better brand of basketball. To me, this Bulls team right now is lacking something very important. Appreciate you, R. Hunt. This Bulls team to me is lacking something very important, something that we're going to have to ask questions about continuously. And that is this team going to come out and show enough heart? There's basketball reasons that I can give you why the Bulls shouldn't win. Or should win. There's basketball reasons I can give you why, right? Like the Bulls should be able to dominate tonight. But I don't think that the issues that we've seen over the last few days have been basketball issues. I don't think that the issues that we've seen over the last few weeks over the last, most of the losses that the Bulls have been basketball issues. It's been the attention to detail. It's been the attention to the mindset that you have to play when you're going out there in some of these games, especially the last two games, to get blown out in one game by the Denver Nuggets. And then on the flip side of that, you get blown out again by the New Orleans Pelicans. What's going on with the mindset there? Your mindset's not in the right place. You're not trying to fight back. You're not trying to take that next step. I can give you every reason in the world why the Bulls should win tonight's game. They have more talent. Paolo Banchero's not playing. Wendell Carter might not be going. They have more talent. At the end of the day, the biggest thing that we haven't seen this season, you have not seen your stars be stars. The Chicago Bulls bet on continuity this year. And you have not seen your stars be stars. Right? You know what we have seen? We've seen Goran Dragic look really good. You know what we have seen? We've seen Andre Drummond come in and absolutely do his job. You know what we have seen? We've seen DJJ step up defensively. You know what we have seen? We've seen Patrick Williams take a step. I haven't seen Zach LaVine play well. I haven't seen DeMar DeRozan play well. I've seen games, but it hasn't been consistent. Vooch the last few games has been very up and down. My stars haven't been my stars, and I'm definitely focusing in on my $215 million player. The highest contract in Chicago Bulls history. Everybody else showed up to play. Right? Javonte showed up to play. He's been a little up and down. Caruso defensively has showed up to play. Offensively, please stop shooting. Everybody else showed up ready to go except the boys that matter the most to this team. That's a problem. That's mentality. That's a mindset. And I'll say this, right? I think that there's something to be said with DeMar DeRozan right now. That it's and I don't know if this is facts, I guess I should say. I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but does it feel to anybody else that DeMar DeRozan is taking a little bit of a back seat to try and let Zach LaVine take that next step, take that mantle, take more shots, kind of the D-Wade role, right? We've seen DeMar only take 15, 16 shots for most of these games, right? A couple of games where Zach was out there, he took 25, 26. But we haven't seen DeMar take a lot of shots. And I'm fine with that. I said that coming into the season. I don't want to see DeMar putting up 25-plus a game anymore because I know that that's not the long-term success of the Chicago Bulls team. I know that the long-term success comes from Zach LaVine taking that next step and being that next-level player. And I understand, right, he's working himself back into form. He didn't play any basketball this offseason. We're 15 games or 16 games in now. What are we, 6-9? 15 games in? But it feels to me, right, like DeMar DeRozan is kind of doing the D-Wade thing that they did with LeBron. And he's like, okay, go ahead. Show me that this is your team. Show me that you're going to make these plays. Show me that you're going to be the reason why we win these games. I want to see it because I want that to be the case. That's how it feels to me. As we come into this Magic game tonight, man, Bulls have to get a win here. You've lost 5 of 6. You have struggled mightily in the last 2. I think for most of these games, right, most of the losses that the Bulls have, and really, here's the biggest issue with the losses that the Bulls had in the last couple of games, right? The losses that the Bulls had the last couple of games hurt more than any of the losses this season because they felt heartless. It felt like you weren't giving the effort that we've come to expect from you. And we've come to expect that effort from you because we saw it at the beginning of these games where you fight your way back into that Boston game. You fight your way back, right? Like starting off games struggling a little bit, but a lot of the losses that the Bulls have had, they've been competitive in. They hadn't been getting blown out. And you come out 2 back-to-back games with a poor effort, getting blown out in both of them? To 2 teams where in one game, the best player didn't even take shots. He only scored 8 points in Nikola Jokic. In the second game out of that, Zion Williamson wasn't even playing. You got cooked by Trey Murphy. So for me, right, like I'm looking at this as a situation of, hey, it's early in the season. Let's figure out our game. Let's learn what we're going to be able to do. Let's learn how we're going to get to that next step. But while learning, show me fight. I don't have as much issue, right? The first half of the Pelicans game, I only had issue with the last 2 minutes. The first half of the Pelicans game, I only had issue with the last 2 minutes because most of those 3-pointers that the Pelicans knocked down, hand in the face. I thought the Bulls did a really good job closing out in that first half. But the last 2 minutes of that first half, they were able to knock down some open looks wide open, and we never saw the Bulls close out on those plays again. DeMar DeRozan not doing a good job closing out, right? That's where your question. That's where my question comes in. That's where my confusion comes in. What is this team going to be able to do if your leaders on the team aren't the ones leading the way defensively? And I'm not saying you have to be a great defender, but you have to show that effort. The second we saw that effort die out from DeMar DeRozan, it looked like the rest of the team's defensive effort died out because he gave up 2 of the 3 coming into that second half. You can't do that tonight versus the Orlando Magic. Versus this Magic team tonight, they will absolutely cook you. And not even to say that they're good. They're just scrappy. I feel like I said this over on Locked On Bulls. I feel like we've been saying the Magic are young and scrappy for 10 years now. But they're just a young, scrappy team. They might have Ben Carroll. They might have Wendell. Last I saw, I think Ben Carroll was listed out. So we'll at least. I actually am kind of sad about that because I wanted to see him. But anybody can get beat, and this team is taking teams to the wire. So I need to see more. I need to see some want to, some heart, some fight. And the heartless efforts, the struggle, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, you cannot go into these games with that. Outside of that, the Bulls got enough talent. I know that. There's no part of me that's sitting here looking at this Bulls team and saying that's not a talented team. Zach LaVine can play. DeMar DeRozan can play. Nikola Vucevic can play. Ayo Dosunmu's developing. Goran Dragic is coming off the bench, giving you 13 points. Andre Drummond's coming off of the bench, giving you double effort. You got talent. Are you going to have the heart to go out there and outplay these teams that want to get into your head? That's the question mark that I have with the Chicago Bulls team right now. That's the concern that I have with the Chicago Bulls team right now. And that's kind of where I'm at with it, right? Like that's the part right now where I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, I'm not making, like there's some people that'll come out and they're, of course, right, Bulls fans that are going to make season-long predictions on what this team is going to be. They're going to say certain guys don't fit. They're going to say certain guys aren't good. They're going to say, right, like I'm not there. I'll never be there. I know Nikola Vucevic can play. I know Zach LaVine can play. I know Billy Donovan can coach. I know, right, like I know these things. But what I will make a season-long prediction on is that if the Chicago Bulls mindset does not change, we will be heading towards getting rid of some of these pieces. If the Chicago Bulls aren't willing to put forth the effort to live up to the potential that this team has, the Chicago Bulls will be getting rid of some of these pieces. You know what I mean? Like that's where I look at this team and I'm saying that's what irritates me about the team so much. That's what irks my soul. I know they can play. I know that there's going to be this run that comes into them, right? Like all of a sudden they're going to go on a run, they're going to be winning games and they're going to find their groove. And at least that's what I'm expecting. But we haven't seen that on a consistent basis this season. Have we won what? We've only won 2 games in a row this year? Got to do more. Got to do more. And you got to figure out, I mean, listen, it's on Billy too. Billy's got to figure it out as well. Billy's got to figure his game out as well. He's got to figure his, at least for God's sakes, call a timeout when you see 3-4 buckets in a row. Tell your team, get it figure this thing out. You know what I mean? Have a conversation with them. Got to do better, man. Got to do better. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us, showing love as always, man. I want to predict the Bulls to get a like. I want to predict the Bulls to get a win tonight. We can't lose to the Magic. If we lose to the Magic, bro, y'all gonna see me lose it tonight. So, hey, Bulls get a dub tonight. I think we're looking at a 115-106 dub. Bulls are still a top 10 defensive team in the NBA as well, which is wild to say. I know it's in there. You got to figure that out. So I think the Bulls come out defensively, play a little bit better. I think they're able to disrupt what the Orlando Magic are able to do. I don't know if P. Will is going to play tonight. He did have a sprained ankle, so they'll probably end up sitting him tonight. I haven't seen the latest injury report on that on the Bulls side. But if he does, show me something from the kid. I need to see a little something from the kid, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Final topic of the day. Appreciate you guys for showing love. I got to bring back a segment because yesterday, and I think this is going to be what I do on the Fridays, we're just going to have a fun finish to the show. I don't know if y'all remember the segment, man. We did it on the Morning Breeze. Oof, the Morning Breeze. But after yesterday's fiasco and us all thinking that we were going to lose a major social media site, we got to bring back Ain't No Way, Boy.
And now, a segment of wild stories, crazy happening, and just a few random things that'll make you
Say what?
It's time for
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Ain't No Way, Boy, brought to you by Breeze Media. Breeze Media, where media is a breeze. Yesterday, Twitter saw a fresh exodus of employees on Thursday as the company hit the deadline set by billionaire owner Elon Musk for the remaining staff to commit to being extremely hardcore or leave the company. Departing employees posted on Twitter under the hashtag #LoveWhereYouWorked, announcing it was their last day at the social media network. Twitter has been convulsed into chaos since Musk finalized his $44 billion purchase late in October. Many accompanied their posts with saluting emojis, which has become the symbol inside of Twitter for respect for those who are leaving. Musk has already laid off 75,000 full-time employees, or I'm sorry, 7,500 full-time employees on November 4th, reportedly, and thousands of contractors last weekend, and fired several employees who had criticized him publicly. So here's my question. Because we all thought Twitter was going to be gone yesterday. Where are we going if Twitter leaves? Because I dropped Facebook yesterday, and apparently Facebook is for old people. I dropped Facebook yesterday, and apparently Facebook is for old people. What is the social media site that we're going to be on if Twitter ends up collapsing? Because basically what they're saying is, as the article goes on, right, is that the systems aren't going to be able to maintain themselves after all these people leave, and it's just going to eventually crumple and degrade. It's going to be like a civilization just slowly dying out. Where are we going for our Adrian Wojnarowski updates, for our Adam Schefter updates? Where are we going? Because apparently Facebook is for old people. I'm not doing just Instagram for my updates, dog. I need something with just, hey, I need quick media. Instagram takes too long. You got to go through. You got to throw a filter on that mug. You got to sharpen it. Yeah, post it up there. It takes a little. Sometimes they be down all the time because they're technically still Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, where are we going? What social media site is going to be the one that ends up getting all of our business? Because Instagram that's not it. TikTok, I'm not going. Bro, if Adam Schefter starts doing TikTok updates for trades, I'm going to lose my mind. I got to sit here and watch Adam Schefter dance. I got to sit here and watch him just, yeah. And the latest trade from the Miami Dolphins is that they're going to be sending Tua Tagovailoa to, like, nah, I'm not, bro. I'm not. Is social media dead if Twitter leaves? You know what I mean? Like, I saw an update, but he literally said, dog, what did he say? He said, Twitter employees just need to go to the next social media site or the next set of investors and say, so it's Twitter, but without Elon Musk. Like, that's what we need to get to. I'm going to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I don't think Twitter's actually going away. You know what I mean? I don't think that Twitter's actually going to be leaving I think Elon actually used it as a little bit of a ploy. I think he's going to have to cave unless he just wants to lose his $44 billion investment. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to have to cave to some of these guys. I want to see what the next social media site is going to be, bro. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm coming in as a god on that social media site. You know what I mean? I'm coming in. Now I get to start my social media. I've been waiting for the next social media site to get big that's like just like a type on it. Like, I don't got to sit there and record a video and all of that. I've been waiting for that one to crack because now I can come in and be like, I've got 15,000 YouTube subscribers. I got this much on Instagram, this much. Well, it's going to be on Twitter. You know what I mean? I've been waiting for that next one so that I can come through and just be like, yeah, now I'm verified, because Twitter won't verify me for nothing. And Muzz was talking about, go get the $8 verification badge. Just go pay for the $8 verification. I'm not. And here's the wild part, right? I would have paid for the next version of Twitter, but one is still working on the current subscription that I have, and they haven't changed nothing on that. And I would have ended up getting the Twitter verified badge, but I already use Twitter Blue. Twitter Blue allows me to post longer videos. It allows me to post more than 2 minutes worth of video. So I needed Twitter Blue for what I do anyway. So now I'm going to have Muzz just sitting there in my DMs talking about, you paid $8 for your Twitter badge. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not dealing with this, man. I'm hype off the coffee right now, man. Hey, I think that's about it for the show, man. I want to end on something fun. Hey, let me know in the comments below what social media site we're all going to for our Adam Schefter updates, bro. It cannot be TikTok. It cannot be TikTok. Our Woj updates, we cannot get Woj bombs on TikTok, man. Let me know where we all going, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. We will have an episode on Monday, but it will not be recorded live. It will be pre-recorded. So if you're asking me questions and stuff like that and I'm not interacting, that's why. But it still will be hopefully an hour-long show. Should be about an hour-long show from 11 to 12. We'll be breaking all of that down as we're heading through. I'll be watching in the comments with you guys as well. So there's that, you know what I mean? And I appreciate you guys for showing love and accompanying me on this journey, man. The next step, right? I'm taking this step so that we can push the platform further. You know what I mean? I want to I'm taking this step so that we can push everything further. And now I'll be able to put a little bit more money behind the show. We'll be able to get the daily show cracking even more, get more people up in here. You guys will always be the faithfuls, the originals that are in here. Chicago, Coach T in this mug, Dantavius in this mug. Yeah, I mean, R Hunt in here, Demond in here, all of that, right? Like, you guys will always be the faithful. So we'll still have a ton of content coming you guys' way. Don't think anything's going to change. We'll still have Bulls live calls. By the way, we will be live for the Chicago Bulls live call tonight, so make sure that you guys are there with us on that as well. I think that's about it. If you have not done so, make sure to check out, if you're a Breeze super fan, we have the Views from the Bleachers podcast, new episode. We're going to be dropping that every Thursday for the super fans. We also are dropping it in podcast format. It's currently up on Spotify. We're getting approved over on Apple right now, so that'll be up sooner than later. But if you're not a super fan, go listen to the Views from the Bleachers podcast. About an hour and a half, we're talking about how many current stars in the NBA will we trade for Wembanyama. We're also talking about Kevin Durant's comments and what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons, stuff like that. So tune in with us over on that side as well. That podcast is up on Spotify, or if you're a super fan, you can watch the full video over on the community tab. Appreciate you guys for showing love as always. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Chicago sports content. Click the links on the screen to check the links in the description below. Hey, Chicago! Y'all stay safe out there, man.